Hey everybody, the 2017 movie season has come to a close, at least by my kind of arbitrary estimations. So for me, it's basically May through July and sometimes that first kind of weekend. So I included the Dark Tower in it, but there's nothing really scientific about deciding when the summer movie season begins and ends because they've just been pushing forward when they release some of those big blockbusters. You know, Fate of the Furious came out in April. I didn't include it, but maybe I could have. So that's my definition. It doesn't line up with the actual season of summer. It doesn't line up with school schedules, but that seems to be that first big Marvel movie comes out that first week in May, and then they kind of stop releasing big summer blockbusters after this weekend we're in right now. So I decided this weekend I will drop my video ranking all 20 of the movies that I saw this summer. Plus I'm going to do the best, the worst, the biggest winners, the biggest losers, biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, all that fun stuff in this video. But as you can tell, I'm in a different location. I'm actually in Houston right now. I'm going to go to the zoo in about an hour. So I thought I would cut a video, upload it for you guys, trying to put together a little set right here. Clearly I'm in a home that doesn't have a lot of grown men in it because we've only got 80s VHS tapes on my display for, that's all I could find to try and decorate my stage. Plus Titanic. So that gives you an idea who lives in this home. But so as I'm about to go into my list, how about you put your ranking of all the movies, and if you don't want to rank all of them, don't remember everything you saw, just tell me the best, the worst, biggest surprises, who was the biggest winner? Not necessarily your favorite movie of the summer, but what was the biggest winner of the summer? What was the biggest loser of the summer? All that stuff down below. There's plenty of good discussions to go along with all of that because there's a lot of opinions. So up on my Twitter page, which you should go and follow, I put up a poll a couple days ago, and it only lets me put 4 options in there, and I asked, what was the best movie of the summer? And I had Spiderman, Wonder Woman, War for the Planet of the Apes, and Dunkirk on there. Spiderman was definitively number 1 on that poll with the most votes by a good margin, considering all the numbers in there. And there was like 45, 48 different people voted on that, so a good number of people definitively said they picked it from you guys, the fans. And if you think that vote's crazy, go ahead and follow me on Twitter so you can join me in the next polls that I put up. But without further delay, let's just kind of dive into it and start talking all about this summer and the movies. And I'm going to start off by talking about just kind of the winners and the losers and the biggest surprises of the summer. And just so you know, every time I touch my laptop to look at my notes, my computer's going to shake because it's sitting right now on my luggage on top of a bed. So yeah, it's a pretty makeshift little setup here, even though the lighting turned out pretty nicely. I'm facing a window, so I can't really see. With all that said, here we go. Biggest disappointment of the summer, and this isn't my personal biggest disappointment. My personal will probably be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because I love the first one so much, and the second one to me had a lot of things that I didn't care for. But I think the biggest disappointment overall would have to go to Alien Covenant. It wasn't the biggest bomb of the summer. It wasn't necessarily, it was a number of different things, but if you look at how well it actually fared with online fans, plus at the box office where it ended up, huge disappointment. Gigantic drop off from what Prometheus did. It's part of the Alien series, and some people did like it, but overall, for what you really needed that movie to do to get some excitement, to earn the fans back, it seemed like it alienated a lot of the Prometheus fans. It alienated a lot of the Alien fans. It didn't win a lot of people back. It did about the same with critics. Critics tend to like Prometheus and Alien Covenant more than the internet seems to. So all in all, big disappointment. Next one, biggest underperformer of the summer. I'm going to go with War for the Planet of the Apes. So the last movie in the series, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, very well received by critics, over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, very well received by the internet. The internet loves this movie. And then this one comes out and it dropped like 30%, 20% from what Dawn of the Planet of the Apes opened with. Second week had a pretty big drop off. And it's not like bombing, but unless it does great overseas, it's probably not going to be profitable. It's not going to make any money, which is a huge disappointment because once again, the people that saw it loved it. Critics love it, but it's not finding its audience. And I kind of get it. It's got the special effects of a big summer movie, but it has the drama of not necessarily a big summer movie. You don't think tragedy. You don't think people dying, death, all this stuff that you actually get in a Planet of the Apes movie. So really underperformed. Biggest loser of the summer, I'm going with King Arthur. It cost nearly $200 million just to make, not just market, and it made, I think, under $30 million in the US. It debuted like $16, $17 million, ravaged by critics, under 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. No one wanted to go see it. The critics didn't like it. A few people on the internet were like, yeah, it's a pretty cool movie, but man, enormous flop. Legitimate, no defending it, flop at the box office. And maybe it did better overseas, but I don't think so. I think that one's just an enormous money loser. But the biggest winner of this summer, and this is one I really liked. It's not my personal pick for best movie of the summer, but it's hard to debate this one. Winner of the summer's got to go to Wonder Woman. That is a movie that part of the DCU. There's been so much drama surrounding the DCEU. You can go back to my channel and in the movie news playlist back in January, February. I just ravaged the DCU for all their weird decision-making choices, all the like kind of conflicting rumors, reports, Ben Affleck quotes that weren't true. All that stuff. I ravaged it. Obviously, 2016 put out 2 DCU movies that were not well received at all. I mean, just trashed by critics, trashed by the internet. Some people love them, but the majority of people trashed them. Wonder Woman comes out, over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. People loved it. It made a ton of money. I mean, it was exactly what the DCEU movie or DCEU series needed. And just all in all, just a good movie. I mean, just very enjoyable movie that, I loved it. My wife was just mentioning it to like, hey, ask my wife, what was your favorite movie this summer? She's trying to remember everything. It was like it wasn't like Wonder Woman. She goes, oh, Wonder Woman. I loved Wonder Woman. So she picked Wonder Woman. And I think just if you look at all the different ways by which you could measure the best of the summer, Wonder Woman, without question, is the winner. Probably the biggest surprise because of how well received it was as well. So Wonder Woman won the summer. Did you want to say something real quick? I didn't go see some of the worst ones of the summer.
I came to say hi.
Oh, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. All right, thanks, buddy. We're going to go to the zoo soon. Pretty exciting. Worst, I didn't see the... Buddy. Okay, just grab your cup. That's cool. I didn't see the Emoji Movie. Liam, don't get on the bed. Don't get on the bed. Yeah, it's holding this, so it'll start shaking. Buddy, close the door. Liam. Thanks. Hey, real life. But so I didn't see the Emoji Movie, so I can't comment on it. Sounds like it's the worst of the summer. It's not what my worst is because I didn't see it. Probably would be if I did see it. But so there you go. Also, before I go into my actual ranking, what I'm going to do is just I'm not going to look at all the Rotten Tomatoes scores of all the movies that came out this summer because there's no way to actually count the number of movies that came out this summer because there's limited releases, so it gets really unclear on whatsy. I'll just look at the bottom 5 based off of the ones that were wide released that I noticed. So number 5 worst reviewed wide release of the summer is going to go to, these are actually out of order. The House, tied with Wish Upon at 18%. At number 4 worst with Rotten Tomatoes is going to be The Mummy at 16%. Tied with All Eyes on Me at 16%. Second worst reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes is Transformers The Last Night with 15%. And you guessed it, and the worst reviewed of the summer did end up being The Emoji Movie at 7%. Congratulations on that one. You won an award. Now, for positive ones, I'll do all the ones that are over 90%. So at number 6 would be Wonder Woman, 92%. Number 5 and number 4 is War for the Planet of the Apes and Dunkirk. Number 3 on the list is Spider-Man Homecoming at 94%. Number 2, best reviewed by Rotten Tomatoes, is Baby Driver at 95%. And the number 1 best reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes, I haven't seen it yet, planning a date night to go see it in the near future, The Big Sick with 98%. The best reviewed movie, or at least the widest critical consensus that they recommended. That's what Rotten Tomatoes means. It doesn't mean the best. They're not going through all the, it's not rating how high they scored it, just the general consensus of do they recommend it. Big Sick is the most recommended movie of the summer. With all that said, let's dive into my actual ranking of all 20. I'm going to give quick reviews on each of these, some quick thoughts, because there's 20 of them, so this video could be really long. And I'm actually kneeling right now, so my knees hurt really bad. already, and we haven't even started the ranking yet. So I'll grab once again, real life, I'm on vacation. I can't edit all this. Take a drink real quick, and then we will dive through 20 movies reviewed, rated by me. All right. Coming at number 20 for me is going to be Transformers: The Last Knight. I mean, I'd basically say this one was so bad it was good. It kind of looped around with just how absurd the badness was. But holy cow. They had this writer's room where they came up with a bunch of ideas and they said they were going to make 16 movies. It feels like they put 16 ideas worth of movies in this one where it's like post-apocalyptic, Dark King Arthur plays into it, Optimus Prime turns evil, it just keeps going on and on. So many plot lines, backstories, mysteries. It was written by the guy that did the Da Vinci Code. You watch it and you go, yeah, this is the Da Vinci Code with Transformers. So many weird choices. Not good. Maybe so bad it's good. At least for me, it kind of looped back around, but definitely the worst. Wow. Coming in number 19, I was pretty surprised this was this low. Baywatch. Rated it a 4.5 out of 10. It's just a movie that wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be. They want to be a raunchy comedy. They want to be an action movie. And it didn't balance them quite right. It didn't feel like it was raunchy enough at times. Other times it was like, look, wieners everywhere. And so just very odd mix in it. You like the cast in it. Certainly some laughs at times, but not enough. Not enough of anything. And not like even the action stuff, you didn't think, oh, this action's handled really well. You just went, okay, there's an awful lot of action in this comedy. So just an odd mix, an odd direction to go with it. Some really bad forced cameos. I thought both the David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson cameos were not good. Very awkwardly done. So overall, just not very good. 4.5 out of 10. Coming in number 18 is Valerian at 5 out of 10. This one I just saw, I don't know, a week ago. Big sci-fi fan, like a bunch of Luc Besson's stuff, but this movie was just... The plot was so bizarre. The two leads so miscast and strange characterization. They look like they're in high school, but they're talking about marriage. The lead guy, Valerian's supposed to be this suave government agent that gets it done. And you feel kind of like if, Star-Lord, Indiana Jones, Han Solo type, except that he works for the government and follows rules a little bit, but that's kind of swagger is the way they describe him, and handsome. None of these things do you think Dane DeHaan. You think Chris Pratt is kind of the guy that if you'd kind of imagine in this type of role. If you combined Star-Lord and Wyatt, what's his name from Jurassic World? Combine those two guys together. That feels a little bit like what this character is supposed to be. And then you see Dane DeHaan and it's like, this is weird. The main plot wasn't horrible, but the way it was tied together and the way they expanded the story and stretched it out, not good at all. Give it a 5 out of 10. Coming in number 17 is going to be Cars 3. I didn't hate this movie. It was like, oh, this is passable enough if I have to sit around watching this with my kids, but I don't like it either. And I was really not caring for it much at all for the first 30 minutes. It got a little bit better once they kind of got off on their training journey and they went some different directions with it. I could see where they were kind of going in the third act with some of the plot twists. I could respect what they were trying to do with it, but the way it was handled was very odd. And they tried to take what could have been a good arc for the entire second half of the movie, and they wanted to make a plot twist in the third act. And it seemed odd. It made me immediately go, this isn't how things work. You can't do that. So it just kind of pulled me out of even watching a movie where cars talk. Still just as the way that the cars talking, I can suspend disbelief on that. Stupid rules and nonsensical logic, not so much. So 5.5 out of 10, passable enough, but not necessarily good. And that the next several kind of fall all into that category. Number 16 on my list is going to be The Mummy. The Mummy, the Tom Cruise one, Dark World, big hype years leading up to this, a writer's room, potential project, all sorts of casting announcements. The movie comes out, it's like 16% on Rotten Tomatoes, not well received at all. For me, it was enjoyable enough. I wasn't bored or anything like that, but it was like just like a coupled mess of a movie of like, what? Why is this so jokey? Why is why are you putting this in this? Why is this on this? It was kind of like if you had the scary monster movie, but you wanted to make it fun. So you're like, all right, let's do a quick rewrite to make it more like, I don't know, like a Marvel movie with all the jokes. You know, we're doing a shared universe, so let's make it just like a Marvel movie. So let's put all this other stuff on there. And it's kind of like trying to make, a poorly cooked piece of steak taste good by covering it in seasoning and dipping it in A1 sauce. That's what this one felt like. It's just not a great main product with entertainment sprinkled on top of it. So give that one a 5.5. Coming in number 15, I'm going to go with The Dark Tower, the one I saw this past weekend that I kind of just shoehorned it in at the last minute into my summer ranking here. This one, I didn't have any big issues with it. It just felt incomplete. It felt like this should be a 2.5 hour long movie. It felt like it should have been the pilot for a TV show. If this had been the pilot for like a HBO TV series, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I can't wait till next week. I'm definitely going to check out, see where they go with all this. But it's not. It's just a movie that's supposed to be self-contained, and it's missing so much. It raises questions. It makes you go, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then it doesn't answer any of those questions. Like, why is Matthew McConaughey doing this? Who are these creatures that are doing all this stuff? Like, where did they come from? Why are these powers here? And then it's supposed to tie into a bunch of other things, but it doesn't fully explain any of that. It's just kind of alluded to. So overall, a movie that was passable enough. The trailers don't misrepresent it at all. It just doesn't transcend anything. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, that happened. Maybe I hope they do another one if they can actually do it right. But yeah, anyway, frustrating. Coming in at number 14, and this is one that I rated it at a 6.5, but it probably would drop if I re-rated it now. Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant. Yeah, I didn't like Prometheus at all. I liked Alien Covenant more than Prometheus on the basis that it had more alien stuff. It had more of the things. Basically, with Alien Covenant, when it was an alien movie, I really liked it. And when it was Prometheus sequel, I was like, more of the stuff I don't like. You're answering questions I don't want you to answer. The mystery is more intriguing to me than your answer you're giving on all this. I don't want this to be the origin of the aliens. I don't want this to be the build up to where we're going. And I don't think it's all that good either. But then the first 45 minutes or so, I thought was really good. I mean, just clearly the best alien stuff, or not, some of the best alien stuff we've had in 30 years since Aliens came out. The last little bit kind of similar, this is really cool too. And then there's just this huge section in the middle that, I don't know what Ridley Scott's doing. It's not my thing at all. 6.5 out of 10. Coming to number 13, one of those ones that you probably missed because it's not really a big summer movie. It's much more of feels like more of a fall movie to me. Everything. So a little, I don't know, dramedy, little quirky elements to it about a girl who's stuck at home because she's sick, and the boy that moved next door that she falls in love with, and their little love endeavor. Kind of really liked aspects of it. Some of the way they creatively showed the thinking in the girl's mind, how she was processing through things, or even texting with this boy that she couldn't meet in person. Very nicely directed, very nicely conceived of ideas on how to bring her out of the world while her being stuck at this home. And then it falls pretty cliche kind of tropes of where you think the story's going to go. And then there's some plot twists in the third act of the movie that are just so heavy that they overshadow the rest of the movie. And it was kind of like, this is actually a lot better than I thought. And then as the movie went along, I was like, all right, a little bit cliche. And then some stuff happened where I was like, I got to drop it down probably a full point for kind of what they decided to do with some of the stuff. So I get that one a 6 out of 10. If the trailer looked interesting to you, you'll probably like it. You won't be mind blown by it, but you'll probably like it. If it looks horrible to you, it's not going to win you over. Coming to number 12 for me is going to be King Arthur. So this is the one that I said was the biggest loser of the summer. The movie itself isn't that bad. It's passable enough, entertaining enough, kind of weird. I don't know that the Guy Ritchie-isms didn't work for me. Some of the it either needed more of the Guy Ritchie-isms or less. The mix as it has right now is you have one movie. It feels like two movies kind of going on. Big epic King Arthur movie that's a bit of a comedy, a bit of a modern aesthetic, and then random scenes that it's Guy Ritchie-isms, 3-4 scenes thrown in there Guy Ritchie-isms, and so it doesn't fully mesh with the movie on the whole. So that kind of pulled me out of it, kind of frustrated me a little bit. But at the same time, I enjoyed a good bit of it. I didn't enjoy any of it as much as I wanted to. None of it was I really liked this, but it's just a lot of, this could be better. I'm entertained. I am entertained. this could all be better. So I get that one a 6.5 out of 10. Coming to number 11, the one that disappointed me the most, the one that I've had people threaten me over the internet about. Coming number 12 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, how do I go into this one? I've talked about it many times already this summer. But, so, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is my favorite MCU movie. Just biggest surprise. Such a fresh air. Loved what they did with that one. This was probably my most excited movie of the year. Maybe Star Wars. Maybe, very excited about this movie. And I was so torn. Still so torn. The comedy, character moments, the heart pounder and the heart moments worked. Plots did not for me at all. They did neither one of them. The gold people that Rocket stole batteries from, that felt like the plot of an episode of Firefly. Jane steals the batteries. Along the way, he learns that, hey, sometimes I do things not because I gain anything, but just because there's something broken inside of me. It just feels like a very episodic sort of plot. And then the ego plot was just so cruel, mean-spirited, and just not... It wasn't cruel, but I thought it was really good. It just got too dark for me. It wasn't like that. I didn't particularly care for it no matter what. This sort of idea that there's this big God that wants to be God and kill people. I mean, it felt like an angry atheist trying to criticize religion to some extent, which James Gunn is an atheist, cruel, mean-spirited in his sense of humor. So it feels very much so like they gave him free rein, and he went much further than I was comfortable with him going. I just didn't care for it. Where it went, the exploration, what they did was the cruelty towards Rocket and Star-Lord, and I don't remember the girl's name, but the guy that Drax was just picking on the whole movie. There's a lot of things that just didn't sit well with me, but really funny. Some great character moments, absolutely. Main plots and the cruelty just did not fit in a MCU movie. Coming number 10 is going to be Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. So this one for me is, I guess, the enjoyable movie that I forgot this summer. It's oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out. I kind of liked that one. Forgot about it, but I liked it. So it's right next to Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's in kind of their scores. This one, King Arthur and Guardians are all kind of right next to each other in the score, and they're rated that reason for very different reasons. Where King Arthur, I had issues with how choppy things came together. Guardians, I loved parts of it. Really high highs, really low lows. Dead Men Tell No Tales is just kind of right there in the middle of mediocre but good. So whatever you want to do with that, that's what it was, from mediocre good. That's where it fell, and that's, I guess, all I'll say about it. Coming in number 9, this is weird that this one's in the top 10 out of 20 for me. Do what you want with this. I'm weirded out reading it at the moment. Coming in number 9 for me is Snatched, the Amy Schumer comedy. Hey, the main plot line, basic idea of it kind of worked for me. And actually, my big takeaway from it was, if you made this PG-13, dropped Amy Schumer, and put Kate Hudson in it, I think this would probably be kind of one of those memorable comedies. Not like a gigantic hit, but like a sleeper hit that people take moms and daughters went to go see together. With Goldie Hawn doing a movie with her daughter. It's the kind of adventures, like Romancing the Stone, except minus the romance. I think it would have been received pretty well. And even there's a really cool Chris Maloney cameo in it. Swap him out for Matthew McConaughey, not because Christopher Maloney is the best thing in the movie, but if you put Kate Hudson in it and you make that role Matthew McConaughey, suddenly you have a pretty special little comedy I think that mothers and daughters would love. But as an Amy Schumer raunchy rated R comedy designed for mothers and daughters, just seemed such a weird direction to go with it. But I actually liked it. I enjoyed what I was watching. It did make me laugh. And I was even in a fairly barren, I don't know if that's the right word, a fairly empty theater. I mean, there was less than 10 of us in there, so it's not like you had critical mass to where people are laughing and you kind of take up their laughing with them. It wasn't like that at all. I just liked the movie. Coming in number 8 is Atomic Blonde, one I saw, a week and a half ago. And is a movie that I really like. The action, the cast is really cool, the style, the aesthetic was really cool. The spy plot, so generic. I think I described it this way to people. It's like if you took the most generic spy action movie and then put a cool 80s skin on it and put great action scenes. That's what this movie is. So at the core, it's still pretty generic stuff you've seen before, but it's really a cool world to be in because of all the aesthetic. and then the action scenes are great. So that was kind of my take on it. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but it could have been better. Like if the same director, John Wick director guy, went, hey, I'm doing another movie with the same cast, straight up action movie, same aesthetic, same style, just take 2, straight up action movie, I'd be all on board. Coming in number 7 is going to be 47 Meters Down. So this is the shark movie. Now, let me be clear. This is not a great movie. This is not like mind-blowing, oh man, I can even credit. No, it's none of those things. It's a cheap straight-to-DVD movie that got a theatrical release because they thought they could make money on it. And it just does what it's supposed to do. That's what I can say about it. It gave me what I wanted out of this movie. I wasn't going in thinking it was going to be a great movie. I went in thinking it was going to be the movie that I got. So I was happy with it. There you go, 7 out of 10. If you see the trailer, go, that looks like it's going to suck. Don't see it, you're not going to like it. Pretty big jump up from that one to the next one. Actually, pretty significant jump up. Coming in number 6 is Baby Driver. Actually tied with It Comes at Night. 2 smaller budgeted, independent-y type movies. Baby Driver, I really liked it. Very enjoyable. I didn't love it the way a bunch of other people did. It didn't blow my mind. I just really liked it. A lot of fun, great soundtrack, great direction. So very cool movie. But I just didn't love it, so I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Very, very good movie. I don't go full-out great movie the way other people have. Tied with that one is It Comes at Night, a movie I did like sit on it for a little while and think about it, decide. Like after the movie, the people I went to go see it with, we talked about it for 30, 40 minutes in the parking lot. Someone walked out like, I hated that. That was like the worst movie I've ever seen. Talk, look up articles on the internet. Oh, I really liked it, actually. So it's kind of fun the way that one worked out. I give that one also an 8 out of 10. Coming in number 4, Spider-Man Homecoming. I already reviewed it, talked about it many other places. I give it a 4 out of 10 is what I would do. Yeah, it's, excuse me, 4 out of 10. I must be distracted. I would give it an 8.8 out of 10. Very good movie, close to a great movie. Tons of fun. And that's the thing for it. The new twist they found was let's make it very high school and lots of fun. That's what they did. And I enjoyed what they gave me. So very fun. Tom Holland was great in it. Michael Keaton was great in it. And it's a different type of villain. He's like the Walter White of the MCU. So I really enjoyed that. 8.8 out of 10. Number 3 on my list is going to be Wonder Woman. As I talked about at the beginning, this is what the DCU needed. It was well received by everyone. Made a ton of money. It's just a good movie. Just a very entertaining movie that kicked things off. It had a unique flavor to it. It had a unique setting to it. It's just fun. So I gave that one a 9.3 out of 10. Coming number 2 on my list is War for the Planet of the Apes. I love this series. This one ended it wonderfully. Once again, that balance of spectacle with actual conflict and drama where you understand where everyone's coming from. Gave it a 9.4 out of 10. Landed the ship nicely. Very cool movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Number 1 on my list is Dunkirk. Talked about it many times as well. Just a good, unique take on the war genre, where instead of it being all about character arcs and this guy's story going through things, it's meant to be a visceral, experiential film. Like you feel like you're there and you're seeing how different people respond to the same event. It's about the event. That is the star of the movie. That's the title of the movie. It's not necessarily about a specific character. So I can understand why other people didn't like it. It's the movie that has emotionally moved me the most this year. Anyway, that's my ranking. Those are the movies, my thoughts on all of it. How about you? Tell me down below in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. With all that said, if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, ranking videos every single week, like the one you're watching right now. But I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. I'm normally not in this setting. I'm actually really uncomfortable. That's why I'm talking so fast, trying to end the video. And if you've made it to the very end, thank you so much for watching.